Warning, the following images you are about to see were not drawn by a third grader and may cause mild headaches, heart failure, and/or melting eyeballs. Viewer discretion is advised.
Alright, so now that I discovered that I needed 27 combat for the scorpions to become non-aggressive to me, it was time to become a boss warrior, and so I began my journey. I looked through all my stats and I found that I could use iron equipment at level 1, and I knew it was better than bronze because iron pickaxes were better than bronze pickaxes, so obviously the armor and weapons would follow suit. Now at this point, I didn't know how to make or obtain armor, but I did know that you could get different skimiters in Al-Kharid, which was quite convenient. So I went and picked myself up an iron skimmy, and for whatever reason, I found my way into the skirt shop, which is extra funny now looking back on it, because there's also a plate leg shop in Al-Kharid, but being as it's attached to the general store there, I always looked past it because it sort of looked like it was part of the general store, and you know as well as I do, that skirts give the same bonuses as plate legs. So yes, I rocked a plate skirt back in the day. I figured the fastest way to get my combat up was to train each different stat level by level. I was lucky enough to discover how to tell my combat level, and as far as I know, I think most people back when they first started thought that strength level was their combat level. So I headed off to the goblins to train, looking sexy as ever I might add. Now I don't know if anyone had the same mindset as me, and I don't know if anyone remembers this, but there was that house that had like 6 goblins in it in Lumbridge, and there was always high levels in there. Which at the time, high level to me was like 20 to 30 combat. And I was always so scared to go in there because there were so many goblins in there, and since everyone was higher level than me, I thought they would make fun of me because I was a lower level. I sort of looked at it like the cliques that they have in school, like they were the cool kids and I was the outcast in school that didn't fit in. So I sort of just kept to myself training on the goblins outside of that house. And there was usually people around training fishing who were always nice enough to give me food if I asked for it. So I kept killing goblins, and eventually I got myself a goblin male drop. Now back in the day, that was like getting a Torva plate body from Next, and it was extra exciting when I saw that it had a wear option. So I thought it was some like uber elite armor, and I thought I could finally replace my bronze chain body. So I clicked it to wear it, and it said it was too small for a human to wear. So I spent the longest time trying to figure out how to wear it, only to find out eventually that it wasn't possible. So I kept up my training, and every time I got a full inventory of items, I'd go and just sell them all to the general store, and by this point, I was straight banking. Like, I racked up like 3K by this point, and then I went up and picked myself a steel skimmy since I was training combat, and I could wear one by now. By this point, I decided it was time to figure out how to make armor, because these goblins were kicking my ass, and I knew I couldn't make a steel plate, but I could make a helmet and a square shield, which was better than what I had. So again, I asked around and found out that I needed to find an anvil to smith armor. Eventually, I discovered a place called Varrock, and since I was already a decent level smither, since I had smelted every single ore that I've mined at this point, I headed to the Al-Kharid mine with a full inventory of food to protect myself from the bitch-ass scorpions, and picked myself up some coal and iron and made several steel bars. Once I had a decent amount, it was time to make my journey to Varrock. So again, I stocked up on food, because last time I traveled north was with my good buddy that I met on the first day, and I ended up dying. So I didn't want that to happen again. So I traveled up, and unlike most people probably for whatever reason, I got to Varrock by means of going near Draenor Manor toward Barbarian Village, and got super freaked out when the trees attacked me. I eventually made my way to Varrock, found the anvil place, which was right across from the bank. Now if you played back in the day, there was so many players in that bank, and they were all buying and selling stuff. Back then, there wasn't a grand exchange or none of that, so Varrock Bank was one of the major places of RuneScape to trade and sell your stuff in free-to-play. And when I discovered that this was one of the big marketplaces, and I could sell my shit, that's when shit got real.